that person needs to sacrifice so that you feel good. But, I mean, what is that kind of relationship? I mean, in a certain sense, that could be the opposite of love is not hate. But the opposite of love, according to St. John Paul II, is lust. And you can think of that in a sexual way, but even lust in sort of the general sense of I am using you as an object for my means. To make me big, strong, powerful, pleasurable, all those different things. And I'm not going to suffer or sacrifice for you, because ultimately I don't really care about you. But you are going to sacrifice and suffer and hurt, and I might break and destroy you, but it doesn't matter to me, because I get what I want. That's the dragon sickness, and we need the cross to heal it. Now, that's an extreme version of that, but we see this in different ways in which we take others for granted, in which we don't get on the cross for one another. And ultimately what Aslan is saying is you need to be excruciated, you need to be from the cross, rid of this dragon sickness. And what that does is that reawakens the wonder that allows you to reverence the other, to not take them for granted, to not be familiar with them in such a way that it's like, oh, I know who you are, you're no mystery, and I could really care less about you. You also need to have a Sam in your life, a Samwise Gamgee. You need community, because community is the perfect way of helping you to realize that there's a God that's not you. If we just had ourselves without any sort of community, any sort of humanity around us, it'd be awesome and easy to be a saint. We'd just be like, look at me. I'm not angry at anyone. I'm not selfish. I'm not lusting. I'm not envious. I'm just free. And then the moment that person comes in, you're like, ah. And it's like, well, maybe there's a hidden, latent dragon that's there that, community sort of brings that out in order to heal us. It's like showing us that we're dragons that need God's help. This is the reality of marriage too. If you really think about it, in marriage, there's part of Eastern rite that basically just says, behold your cross. And you're looking at the other person that you're about to pronounce vows to. Behold your cross. That person right there is your cross that you're called to carry daily and follow the Lord. And so that's the reality of, just the beauty in a sense of that community, that friendship is ultimately something that opens us up to humility, which frees us from the dragon sickness. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, if you want, we can take a couple minutes right now for any questions, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll jump into the second one on Aslan. So,
Do you think, as the stories progress, did Susan become a victim of the dragon sickness, or what happened?
Yeah, so one of the sad things about Susan is she doesn't make it to Aslan's country. So she's one of the 4 original children, and the other 3 make it, but she actually is one of the victims of that, saying she stopped to wonder. Now, it doesn't mean C.S. Lewis didn't put Susan in hell, but it's sort of giving a warning to say, even someone that knew Aslan so well, and really had this wonder, she in a sense grew up, but not in the way that we're supposed to grow up, and in a sense being more concerned with parties, with things of this world, versus that wonder in a sense of ultimately saying, I'm not meant for this world. And that's that whole thing of growing out of our childlike state into childishness, and sort of triviality. So it's the great hope that Susan is in heaven, but Lewis definitely kind of puts that as a warning there too. But yeah, she would be a perfect example of the dragon sickness. Yeah.
It's somewhat related to the angels and demons thing.
Yeah.
Do you think, how a fallen, any fallen person
that a demon could change and convert?
Be converted and be
Unfortunately, no. Okay, so the question is, can a demon come back to the light? Can a demon convert and come back? That's a really good question there. Because I've even had little children, and just great simplicity and honesty, they were praying for the conversion of Satan. You know, and I mean, God bless them for, but the reality of like a human person versus an angelic person is that an angelic person, they know everything about the material universe just like that. So they know everything about every single cell, they just have this ability to know the far distant reaches of the universe and every single molecule that's in it instantaneously. So they're pretty smart. They have this ability that when they make a decision, they're not over time. They're sort of timeless beings. And so they give a yes or a no with full understanding and full consent. So they see kind of everything except they don't know our hearts, our thoughts. They can read us very, very well. They ultimately, they don't know the depth of what God knows, but they have this sort of like fullness to be able to make a true decision in which their will grabs onto that decision and it never turns away. So an angel, and this is also good on the other side, so like your guardian angel is always going to be a good guy. You don't like wake up and be like, whoa, wait a minute. Bob, my guardian angel, you like turn to the dark side or something? It's like, sorry, I'm on this side now. It doesn't work like that. Like they're always going to be your protector, always leading you there. But the demons are always on the other side. They've already, in a sense, they've done it what we are going to do in the final moment of our life. So it's sort of like our life over time. We grow in our knowledge, we learn, so we're making sort of imperfect decisions. But ultimately our life is leading us to a moment, a climactic moment in which we say yes or no to God. And even if we give an imperfect yes, this is the grace of purgatory. That even C.S. Lewis believed in purgatory, and he wasn't Catholic, but he said that even if it didn't exist, we would have to create it. Because he said, like, you have the sinlessness of God, and no sin can be in there. And we recognize in our own hearts that there's something that's we're not saints yet. And yet, no sin can be in heaven. So there has to be some sort of way in which there's this healing process, because if we die, and we're not there yet, then it's like, well, if there's no purgatory, then all of us are doomed unless someone here is perfect without any sin right now. So purgatory is something, sometimes we cringe thinking about purgatory, but it's really God's healing love saying, I love you so much that I'm going to heal you even after the grave. If you even had just the slightest opening of your heart, just saying, Lord, I'm broken, I'm not loving you fully, but I'm giving you part of my heart sincerely, and the Lord is like, I can use that. You might be in purgatory for a long time to heal the rest of it. So that's why we want to do our purgatory here on earth, so then we can really experience heaven. But purgatory is the great gift of God. And if you want a really good book on purgatory from C.S. Lewis's perspective, if you look at The Great Divorce, I think, which is this, it basically deals with that. Questions? I know those are tough cues to sit in, though. I always remember that too. So why don't we take a 5-minute break right now?